Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Anna Manuel. A teen in Corning has turned her love of sweets and treats into a new business. Big Fox's Maggie Hall introduces us to the owner of Poppleton Bakery and Cafe.
Many teenagers, when they graduate high school, often go on to take on the title of college students. But for local teen Paige Fleet, she decided to take on a different title: small business owner. Paige owns Poppleton's, a bakery nestled in the heart of Corning's Market Street.
Well, I actually didn't even get this job wanting to own or anything. I just kind of got up to the head baker position, and I just absolutely fell in love with the baking side of it. And as I was just talking to my boss at the time, I just started learning more sides of the business, and I just loved all of it. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I knew in my heart that this is something that I wanted.
Poppleton's has a variety of breakfast and lunch options. All of it is made by Paige and her team.
I think the staff makes Poppleton's. You know what I mean? We're just a place that has good food, but what makes it a home and what makes it so special is the people that are in it.
When I asked Paige what she wants people to think of when they hear Poppleton's, here's what she had to say.
I want people to just get like ear-to-ear smile on their face. I want Poppleton's to be a place that everybody is welcome. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter who you are or what mistakes you've made. We're all human and we're all beautiful. We all deserve to be cared for and loved and appreciated. And I want people to feel that the second they walk into the bakery.
You can find Paige and her team right on Market Street and on Facebook. For some sweet treats, you can always visit Poppleton's. Maggie Hall, Big Fox News, Corning.
Today, Elmira College opened a new space on their campus. The IDEA space is a new space for students in the campus center. The name stands for Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Access. It's the hopes of the founders that students can utilize this space as a place of peace, belonging, and purpose. President Charles Lindsay dedicated the space to the college's students at the ribbon cutting. Elmira College basketball player and student Matthew Nunez shared with Big Fox how he feels about the space being open.
It feels great. Like, we could just bring everybody together, bring our ideas. I'm pretty excited because I'm a basketball player in Elmira College, and it's like you're stressed out about workouts and stuff. So I'm happy that we got a center that we could just come to and like not worry about nothing, just clear our heads and stuff.
Elmira College's annual Octagon Fair is back. After being rained out last year and being restricted by COVID in years previous, the organizers are excited to host the event for the community. James Blair, the head student organizer of the fair, told Big Fox a bit more of what the community can expect from this year's Octagon Fair.
So yeah, next week for our Octagon Fair, it's going to be from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. and pretty much it's going to be a big community event. A lot of vendors are going to be here, over 90. We're going to have over 90 vendors here, so that's including like food trucks, student clubs, and just people in the community. And like I said, it's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be like a stage over there. We're going to have a couple like performances, one from Dance Line, and then also our all-female a cappella group, the Chicklets. So that's going to be over there, and then we're just going to have a lot of other things going on, more toward that way. But it's going to be a great time.
New Yorkers will be able to fish for free this Saturday. Big Fox's Josh Feldberg went to Park Station Pond to tell us more about this event.
New York State will be allowing people to fish for free tomorrow without a fishing license. The event applies to all freshwater fishing spots in the state. Tomorrow's event coincides with National Hunting and Fishing Day. Tomorrow's Free Fishing Day is one of 6 of these events put on by the state. The next Free Fishing Day will be Veterans Day, November 11th. Governor Hochul said that she's encouraging everyone to take advantage of this weekend's Free Fishing Day, support New York's local economy, and see the benefits of our extensive conservation efforts to protect and enhance our natural resources. Although participants won't need to bring a fishing license to local fishing areas, all other regulations will remain in effect for the day. The Department of Environmental Conservation's website provides a list of fishing spots by county. Some of the spots in the southern tier listed by the site include Park Station Pond, Eldridge Lake, Almond Reservoir, Birdseye Hollow Pond, and Sanford Lake. Most of these sites have other activities to offer, such as camping, hiking, boat launches for small boats and kayaks, and playgrounds. For more places to fish and fishing regulations, you can visit the DEC's website. Josh Feldberg, Big Fox News, Chemung County.
Car seat checks will be happening at multiple locations in the southern tier. The inspections allow technicians to make sure the car seats are correctly installed and that the seat fits your child. Steuben County will host an event Saturday the 24th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Steuben County Fairgrounds. Another check will be at the Endicott Fire Department. We're a little more than 6 weeks away from Election Day, and on the road today, leaders from both parties trying to make the case for why they should be in control of Congress. Lauren Blanchard has more from Washington.
In Pennsylvania, the Democratic House Majority Leader and the Republican House Minority Leader offering reasons their parties should be the ones in charge.
Because the true details of Republicans' agenda are too frightening for most American voters.
They have no plan to fix all the problems they created. So you know what? We've created a commitment to America.
This week, Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy and House Republicans rolled out the GOP's Commitment to America. It's a policy platform they plan to follow if they win back control in November, focusing on the economy, safety, and government accountability.
It's not like we have to reinvent the wheel, but they broke the wheel. We're here to fix it.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, whose job Leader McCarthy is eyeing, called the commitment an extreme MAGA agenda, saying that it's, quote, far too dangerous for our families and for our democracy.
Their new platform, which isn't frankly new, as long as slogans are short on details, which is usually the case.
A Real Clear Politics generic congressional ballot found the parties are neck and neck, the GOP at 44% and Democrats at 45%.
I think we're going to have closely divided chambers no matter what happens.
Here in the nation's capital, Democrats want to remind voters of former President Trump and January 6th. The committee investigating the insurrection will hold another public hearing next week. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
FedEx says it will be raising rates nearly 7% on most services starting in January. The hikes come as FedEx is experiencing global slowdowns in business. Overseas cargo shipping competition contributed to the business loss. FedEx says profits plunged about 20% during the first quarter earnings reports.
Your complete forecast is next, plus this.
In the world of streaming services, vinyl is making a comeback, but at what cost to the environment? I'm Marianne Rafferty with a look at how one company is making old school records more sustainable. Coming up.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Well, we've had some wet weather days ahead for us. Overall, we've seen 2 big rain days. As Monday, we walked away with about a half an inch of rainfall. And then our Thursday forecast, we walked away with 1.5 inches, bringing our 5-day total to nearly 2 inches of rainfall. A big surplus of rain pushing its way in, and there's more on the way. But we've been dealing with some drying conditions. Even was able to work in sometimes the sunshine across the area. Maybe a stray shower or two was moving on through. But with the clear conditions overnight, look how cool our temperatures are going to be. From the Finger Lakes through the Elmira recording area, we're going to be about 10 degrees below average and nearing that freezing mark. And this is a little bit early in the season to watch temperatures drop into those 30s. So we are noting that a frost advisory is in place, as just some of that summertime, maybe a vegetation that's still thriving. You'll want to make sure that you cover that up, especially with the leftover moisture and the moisture that's in the soil. There can be harm done with these type of temperatures. So cover up those plants or bring them in if you can through the overnight with these cooler conditions. And really much of the area will have that patchy frost around, so definitely signals that fall is arriving. But what we'll note is that Saturday is going to be the day to enjoy. It's still going to be pretty fall-like, but we'll bring temperatures back towards the 60s, and we're going to stay under some bright sunshine. But it is short-lived. We'll see that increasing cloud cover will move in. That's going to keep temperatures not as cold for our Sunday morning, so not going to see that frost advisory extend, but it is going to bring in a sunny, rainy condition starting Sunday Sunday evening and then could linger into early portions of next week. So we'll try to see that, again, a beautiful Saturday setting up. A little bit of that patchy frost and fog in place there. Some freezing fog maybe even be possible as well. With those 30s, though, quickly turning around into those 60s by the afternoon, as we'll even top off with temperatures near that mid to upper 60 threshold, which isn't it's only a few degrees off from that average, about 5 degrees. So we're at least still close to average, but fall-like for sure, as we'll stay under that bright sunshine. Now, as mentioned, cloud cover is going to start to work in, helping temperatures stay closer to seasonal. 46 into Elmira, so just on the dot there for average. But Sunday afternoon is where we're going to turn back to some rainy weather. We'll gradually look at that system to work its way in with some light rainfall accumulation. Temperatures will still have a chance to see the 60s as we'll have a drier morning, but then we'll turn to a wetter weather pattern later into the day and then into that Monday forecast as we'll hold on to about 64 degrees. Now, there will be some short waves continuing to keep some scattered showers around, but it will be associated with a cold front system. So it's going to keep us wet through potentially that Wednesday forecast, but what we'll note is that we are going to see some cooling temperatures. As mentioned, 72 is average for this time of the year. So as we fall to 61 on Tuesday, we'll be 10 degrees below average, and then we could be holding into the 50s as we gradually dry out the atmosphere into the middle of the week and then stay dry through Friday with highs trying to return back towards the 60s.
Doctors are coming together to warn parents about the risks of marijuana use for teens' mental health, saying that use of the drug by those with underlying mental illness could exacerbate the condition. Alani Latang has more.
Every day I treat patients who suffer from cannabis use disorder.
We want to make sure that parents and youth are making informed decisions and understand the risks.
Doctors laying out the relationship between marijuana use and youth mental health. They warn cannabis use is a suicide risk factor for people under the age of 25, adding that cannabis use disorder and daily cannabis use were associated with suicidal thoughts, plans, or attempts in people 18 to 35 years old with or without underlying major depression. The FDA is slapping on a warning for people with psychiatric history to avoid even prescription-level THC.
People who have a mental illness can exacerbate their condition by using THC.
Experts warn that THC is also getting stronger. The Department of Justice found that the average potency level in marijuana has increased from 8.9% to 17.1% between 2008 to 2017. One parent taking notice of that for his oldest son.
It's often the start of a descent into a living hell.
The parent says his son got a pilot's license at 17, had academic goals, but quickly became addicted to vaping.
And then things got worse. He abandoned college after one semester, moved back home, smoked nonstop, alienated himself from his friends, spent all his money and much of ours, and became truly psychotic.
Doctors warn the high-potency THC out there is a risk factor for developing psychosis in youth.
And it can become permanent, even in young people who have no underlying mental illness.
Experts also advise not to shy away from substance use conversations, to instead have the discussion early and often with youth.
To be honest and open with your healthcare provider, if you do suspect use and your child is having a mental health issue, it's really important to have that conversation. Don't think that you're weird.
Our son is slowly getting better. Despite 9 months without weed and the same time working a full-time job.
The pandemic helped usher in a resurgence of vinyl records, and their popularity just continues to skyrocket. But the process to make vinyl is proving hazardous to the environment, with the concoction of synthetic materials needed for production. Marianne Rafferty has a special look at one company's green approach to making a more sustainable vinyl alternative.
Vinyl records continue exploding in popularity, with music analytics company MRC Data reporting 41.7 million vinyls sold across the U.S. last year alone, more than a 50% increase from 2020. But it turns out vinyl has a dark side.
The production of vinyl is toxic in very many ways. There are all kinds of processes in it that are damaging to the environment.
To help us satisfy our craze for vinyl, but lower its negative environmental impacts, British-based company Evolution Music is unveiling its sugar-based bioplastic vinyl alternative.
We found organic fillers and organic master batch, so we've got a unique recipe.
According to company officials, their eco-friendly formula can be used to create new records on the same machines major album manufacturers already own, meaning the production of bioplastic records won't completely disrupt assembly lines. Music industry experts and climate activists say there's no better time to make the switch.
We know what the problem is and we know how to solve it. We just need the will and the investment to do it.
And heads at Evolution Music say the arts and entertainment sector is one of the best channels to advocate for this change.
The music industry, creative arts, should be at the forefront of innovation. Of course they should. And typically that's where cultural change is what affects political and social change.
Evolution Music is continuing with its research to make slight adjustments to the sound quality of bioplastic records, but says once a major recording artist decides to use their formula for their album, the rest of the industry should follow suit. Marianne Rafferty, Fox News.
Still ahead, Boeing pays up, plus some sneaky parents are finding ways to cut costs at Disney World. Those stories and more coming up. Boeing pays up, plus why car buyers are paying well above sticker price. CJ Papa has today's business briefs.
Boeing agreeing to pay $200 million to settle charges from the Securities and Exchange Commission that they misled the public about the safety of the 737 MAX following two fatal crashes in 2018 and 2019. Former CEO Dennis Muhlenberg will also pay $1 million. Boeing says it has made changes across the company in response to the 737 MAX crashes, including improving its safety processes and transparency. Jeep fans paying through the nose to get the keys on the new two-door Jeep Wrangler. Buyers are paying almost 25% above list price to get one. That comes out to more than $8,000 extra. The sticker shock is due to high demand and supply shortages. Thrifty parents are coming up with new ways to cut costs at Disney World. Videos posted online show parents sneaking older children into the park in baby strollers. Prices for a single-day Disney park ticket now climbing to nearly $160. And Apple Music set to take over as sponsor of this year's Super Bowl halftime show. Apple taking over sponsorship from Pepsi, who had its name on the halftime show for the past 10 years. Over 120 million viewers watched last year's halftime show. This year's big game kicks off February 12th in Glendale, Arizona. And it's on Fox. That's business. I'm CJ Papa.
A new study says sitting may impact a woman's chance of developing breast cancer. Researchers in Australia examined data from more than 185,000 women in the UK, which included their sitting time and their amount of physical activity using wrist trackers. The study showed those who were more physically active had a 41% lower risk of invasive breast cancer. It also showed a link between high levels of sitting time and a greater risk of developing breast cancer. Escalating drug use in the wake of last year's record number of deadly overdoses has health officials on red alert. Besides illegal drugs, cigarette use is also generating concern, especially in rural communities. Sean Langille has the latest on that, plus why giving rewards to recovering addicts could help them to stay sober.
One pill of these substances can kill you.
Combating a surge in drug use and deadly overdoses continues to be a top priority for healthcare officials nationwide.
The trend that is generating a lot of discussion right now is the increase in fatal drug overdoses, a number that exceeded 100,000 over 12 months for the first time back in June of 2021.
With opioids like fentanyl elevating the risk for death, especially for a growing number of Native Americans and African American men, according to a new study published in the journal JAMA Network. The escalating crisis triggering calls for communities to increase the availability of Narcan, an emergency overdose reversal treatment.
Administer the Narcan into one nostril. You want to wait 2 to 3 minutes to see if that person is breathing.
But opioids aren't the only concern. Health experts are also citing worrisome disparities between rural and urban cigarette smokers.
There's increased morbidity and mortality in rural versus urban communities.
And also, there's a higher smoking prevalence in rural versus urban communities, which has increased over the past decade.
Attributing the higher rate to lack of healthcare services available to them to help them quit.
We found that quit ratios in rural areas over the 2010 to 2020 period were 7% lower than urban areas.
But when it comes to quitting substances, a number of addiction centers are finding that rewarding users with things like candy or gift cards can give them motivation to stay drug-free as they receive treatment, thanks to a technique called contingency management. Sean Langell, Fox News.
Stay with us. We'll have more right after this. We want to leave you with a smile. Pepsi is out with 3 new flavors that are a take on an American favorite. The Pepsi S'mores collection includes 3 different flavors: toasty marshmallow, graham cracker, and, you guessed it, chocolate. People can drink them separately or mix them together to get the full taste of a s'more. But to try the new drinks, you've got to win. The company says 2,000 people will be selected from Pepsi Instagram or Twitter followers who share an image or a description of how they s'more. Users have until September 27th, and they have to use the hashtags Pepsi S'mores and sweepstakes. I do love a good s'more. I'm Scott Beadle. Thanks so much for watching.